Welcome back to Brashenomics. And guys, you know, a lot of people, since we're talking about real estate here today, all about real estate, a lot of people worry about foreclosure. A lot of people try to buy a short sale. They try to buy a foreclosure. Well, Troy Anderson, who is with us, is an absolute expert in the REO world. Welcome, Troy. How are you?
Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's our pleasure. Yeah, and you brought some cool mugs.
Yeah?
Thanks for the mug.
Yeah, they got my name on them.
I noticed. And a phone number so we can call you whenever we want. Good looking mugs, Troy. Okay, so let's talk. I guess the bank owned world right now is a big world.
Sure.
The houses. I mean, maybe talk about a little bit. Or how does a house go through the process to become bank owned? And is that similar? Happening more? Happening less?
Well, there's no shortage of people that are underwater or in trouble with trying to make their mortgage payments. And so the process pretty much, you get a notice from the bank that says you're 30 days behind, please make your payment. And then it goes into the notice of trustee sale, which is about, 60 days out, depending on how proactive the bank is. And then from there, you have the opportunity to cure the note or to go to foreclosure and or short sale in between. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for the lender to work things out with the homeowner through the process. But then after it becomes a foreclosure, that's when I get the assignment and go out and do what I do to sell them.
Okay, so what do you do to sell them?
Well, we get tasked to inspect the property, see if it's occupied, check the condition, take photos, and depending on if it's occupied or not, go through a different set of tasks from there. Most of the properties we get are vacant. We are a HUD specialist, so we specialize in HUD-owned homes, which are always vacant.
So, it sounds like, this is once maybe the bank has taken them back. And now these are houses. they're out there. These houses are for sale, and you're essentially representing these houses.
Correct. Just like a normal sale, yes.
And so what's going on in that market? Because is this somewhere people can go get a deal?
Yeah, there's definitely deals out there. There's undervalued REOs. There's undervalued properties all around. It's finding a good real estate agent that has
knows where they are
and knows how to get them signed around, because we're seeing multiple offers on all the properties that are in, priced well and in, great condition.
Sounds like there's house price. People are getting offers on everything these days.
Not everything, but yes, for the most part.
Troy, I think it's almost everything. We've talked about the day. It was February 16th that seemed to change.
That's true.
Yeah. So when you start looking at banks, you'd actually mentioned that some of them are doing these streamlined short sales instead of foreclosing. Yeah,
I've been to several conferences, and that's, the big four lenders, their names. They've all come and spoke about their process to improve short sales, and it's been getting better. It's definitely better than it was 3 years ago. And they're being more proactive, realizing that the short sale might be the better option than the foreclosure to offset risk on the lender. That way the house stays in the homeowner's possession for that time until they get approval, and then they can take their loss when it sells versus taking the loss and then trying to sell it.
Right. So do you think that, with all these, if the banks are streamlining these short sales maybe instead of foreclosing, are there a lot of foreclosures that are going to come back onto the market? Do you think that will fill this void in inventory?
Well, there's a certain amount of homes that are in what's called shadow or ghost inventory right now that are in some process. Either the owners are still in them or they're sitting vacant. We just got some through HUD that were a Bank of America foreclosure that they had been holding on to for a long time.
And so what transitions them to determine if they're all of a sudden going to, either hold on to it or let it out or put it on the market, sell it, rent it?
For the most part, they talk to each other, so they don't want to flood the market and oversupply, which is bad, right?
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of people out there that are still in some stage of the process. There's, the notice of defaults. I don't know the exact figure, but it's gone up over the last 60 days.
Really? And is that because the moratorium was over? Wasn't there a moratorium on foreclosures for a while?
There was, and that was last year. There was a big AG settlement for the states that just got approved, and the lenders have to pay that money to the states now. So now that that's through, there's more opportunity for the lenders to move forward with the foreclosure.
So why is it different in Seattle than in other markets? I mean, you work with a lot of banks. These big four banks are very nationally prominent. I mean, Bank of America, Chase,
Wells Fargo,
and who's the other one?
U.S. Bank, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Okay, so I mean, these are big national banks. Is the market different in Seattle than it is in other parts of the country for this type of property?
All I can say to that is that we tend to lag behind the national trend. So when you look at the national news, you can expect that Seattle's going to see what they're talking about within the next year and a half. So I think there's going to be more opportunities for bank-owned property in the next year and a half, for sure.
So do you think that, I mean, so essentially it sounds to me like you're saying that could actually fill some of the void.
Yes.
Some of the void. And I mean, so do you think that'll be enough houses coming on to be absorbed or to bring the market down? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. For the past 8 weeks, when I look at the MLS and see 200 properties come on and 400 go off every day, it's going to take a while to fill that void because there's going to continue.
Is that really the numbers? 200 properties come on and 400 go off?
Yeah.
That's not enough houses.
No.
I can do the math.
Yeah.
Even on the radio without a calculator, I can do that math. That is not enough houses.
You still have to be priced right. I mean, we are seeing multiple offers and prices go up, but we're not seeing a huge spike in prices. Which
is kind of why there's not enough houses, it would seem. I mean, it's kind of simple. Well, I'll sell it if I get more money for it. Mm-hmm. And that to me is the void. The void is if prices were to come back up, people would put their houses on the market, but nobody wants to, it's like what's the game? It's a game of chicken.
Right.
Buyers and sellers, coming at each other with, I don't want to pay that. Well, I don't want to sell it. And so there's just no houses.
Well, that's where the agents come in and educate the consumer.
Yeah. Well, Troy, we have to go to break. Thanks so much for joining us again. Troy Anderson with Keller Williams. When we come back, one of our favorites, Aubrey Cohen, is going to join us from the Seattle PI. We're going to discuss more about real estate. My name is Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.